Coffeezilla just posted a new video on SBF and FTX. Today? Yeah, we can watch the coffee video now.
I uncovered FTX tried to hide billions of dollars in fraud, and now their ex-CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried, is trying to convince everyone it was an accident. He isn't such a bad guy. He just got in over his head.
And it doesn't help that a lot of media outlets are trying to corroborate that, like, no, SBF's probably right. It wasn't fraud. In fact, it was other reasons, which is so stupid. So fucking stupid.
And already there are financial commentators like Kevin O'Leary willing to vouch for him.
I just think he's a very interesting individual. Over time, we'll peel this onion, find out what happened. I don't think that guy has an evil bone in his body.
Now, it may not surprise you,
so
but Kevin
sweet.
O'Leary is a paid spokesman for FTX. But even unpaid sources have parroted his claims. Take, for instance, the New York Times. They quote SBF saying he was just distracted, and that's why FTX fell apart. Quote, had I been a bit more concentrated, that would have allowed me to catch on to what was going on the risk side. That's right, guys. If he only hadn't played League of Legends, he might have noticed he was stealing customer money.
Bronze 3 for life. He has over 1,000 games in Bronze 3. Dude sucks. He's fucking trash. He shouldn't play League. He should quit.
Now, of course, the New York Times was roasted for their uncritical take on Sam, as was Kevin O'Leary. Yep. But even respected financial journalists that I personally like Matt Levine of Bloomberg, have recently floated theories around that maybe this is fraud, but maybe not. Quote, I don't want to minimize the likelihood of intentional fraud and theft, but I want to say that the story of FTX also reads like what would happen if you and a few college friends set up a gigantic international financial exchange. Your friends are traders and engineers, not accountants and compliance officers. They're running a huge exchange and are too busy for paperwork. They move fast and break things. Now, stories like that, to me, leave me wondering.
What the fuck?
Well, was this fraud at all? Or was it just a couple of college grads who didn't know the value of an accountant? Could be either one, right? And I want
No, I don't think so. I don't think in any world this is just like a whoopsie-daisy. Nothing nefarious here. We're just so silly. We're young and silly, and my girlfriend likes Harry Potter, but she knows what she's doing, so I've wired $1 billion over there. It was just a silly mistake.
Allegedly, FTX was approving expenses with, quote, personalized emojis, and that Sam was communicating with disappearing messages that were set to auto-delete after, quote, a short period of time.
A system used by innocent people every day. It's not him being a fraud and trying to hide things. This is just something that me and you always use. Fucking little dead man switch for all of our messages. Oh my god. Fucking unreal. Thanks to Resub, Head It, and Silver Spirit. It is so foul. Things like Wall Street Journal and shit saying like, well, it probably wasn't fraud. I think he's just a misunderstood kid who wasn't getting enough sleep, or, you know, people just lost confidence in him for some reason. I don't know why. That's why FTX failed. Nothing else.
Not only that, Sam encouraged employees to do the same. So understand that we don't have a full picture of what happened yet, in part because, well, they deliberately...
Oh yeah, to be fair, yeah, that's not a dead man switch is like something that sends out once someone's gone. It's like insurance. Like, I have all of these blackmail documents, and if my heart rate isn't what it normally is, it'll send it out.
Incidentally, this is actually why Kevin O'Leary thought this was such a safe bet.
I'm a paid spokesman.
Yeah, the compliance lawyers.
FTX and a shareholder there too.
This is both his parents.
Because he has two parents that are compliance lawyers. If there's ever a place I could be that I'm not going to get in trouble, it's going to be at FTX.
Yikes. And yet, even after being defrauded, Kevin says, given the chance, he'd bet on Sam again.
Oh my god.
Knocked on your door again.
What a cuck.
Said, look, I failed in my last venture. I have a new crypto venture. I need money. Would you back him?
That's a great question. No one's asked me yet. I think we can all admit, you can love him or hate him given what's happened, but he was one of the most brilliant traders.
Oh, what do you mean? No, he wasn't. The guy, what? Pardon? No, he really wasn't. His fucking get-rich-quick scheme was starting with $10 million. He had $10 million as a fucking kid. So he took $10 million and put it into Bitcoin and immediately swapped it on a different exchange for higher. So he used to take $10 million, put it in Bitcoin when it was 10K at a US exchange, and then take that and trade it on a Japanese exchange where it was a higher rate. So he made a lot of money doing that, but he had $10 million to fucking play with. He started rich. He had step one, good spawn. That's it. Kevin is delusional. Like, actually fucking delusional.
He also built one of the most robust platforms. We used FTX actively. It was a very robust
Thanks for resub, Jojo.
That allowed us to get information on a compliant basis. So I really like what he built.
Would you back him?
The answer would be yes.
Unbelievable.
Loser.
I don't understand how these
Fucking
people
loser.
can't admit they were fooled by SBF and just end up making fools of themselves. Now, there's another part of this story I want to talk about, which was, of course, the revelation that FTX, the exchange, and Alameda Research, the trading firm, were actually sharing customer funds. And there's been some talk of, well, maybe this was just a lack of compliance or accounting. But I want to suggest to you that SBF was not lacking anything. He purposely and deliberately profited from the vague relationship between Alameda and FTX. And the first sign of this was when I spoke to an insider at Alameda. He told me that they would often use insider knowledge of the coins that were going to be listed on FTX, and then they would go buy those coins up, knowing that it would pump in price when it was finally listed. In other words, an easy profit could be made. This, by the way, is similar to what happened on Coinbase, and 3 people were arrested for insider
I actually
trading
remember
in
that.
case. But unlike Coinbase, this wasn't rogue employees. This was Alameda itself doing this. So let me get this straight. If it was criminal when 3 individuals did it, what does it mean when an entire organization does it?
Good
I even
business.
asked the Alameda insider if they thought that it was criminal behavior, and they told me, quote, it was probably criminal in hindsight. Yeah, you know about the 20/20 of hindsight. Sometimes you realize, wow, that was probably illegal. Now, this insider evidence is actually
It's just so
validated
quirky.
by public reports that
Yeah, Alameda was the one run by the Harry Potter fan. The one that for some reason keeps getting tossed around as like misunderstood. She was the 28-year-old Harry Potter fan who clearly had no fucking idea what she was doing at all in that industry. Thanks, Resub Quinn.
Alameda Research amassed swaths of tokens ahead of FTX saying it would list them, according to an analysis of public blockchain data. This is from the Wall Street Journal, and it just corroborates this insider testimony. There's insider trading going on at Alameda. So do you think someone, Sam, who is doing criminal activity is going to want a bunch of accountants and compliance people sniffing around? No, they're going to want criminals hanging around them. So with that said, and completely unrelated, guess who FTX chose as their chief regulatory officer? This guy.
Dan!
Friedberg. Now, Dan's past...
He looks so wholesome, what the fuck? But those are the ones that get you. We just recently lost this co-creator of Sonic, Yuji, for insider trading. They could look as innocent as, you know, Santa Claus here, but behind the scenes, they're insider trading. They're foul.
Ultimate Bet got in trouble because they were
Thanks,
giving
Resub Quinn.
some of their players a god mode that allowed them to see the other players' cards, which would obviously
That's
be
so-
an advantage
that's so
if you're
big.
trying to play poker.
Wow. So Friedberg was working for Ultimate Bet during these God mode days. And
Sounds like one of those
although
old
he was
CS:GO
never
lotto
charged with
scams.
anything, there is leaked audio coming out from him conspiring to hide the owner of Ultimate Bet from facing any consequences from using it. Here's Russ Hamilton, the former owner of Ultimate Bet, who used God mode and admits to making money with it, telling Friedberg that he wants to get out of this cheating scandal.
I feel, and I did take this money, and I'm not trying to make it right, Dan. So we got to get that out of the way real quick, okay?
So then Dan Friedberg replies to Russ that maybe they should just blame it all on a third-party consultant and say that was who used the God mode on their website instead of Russ himself.
I think for the public, it just has to be former consultant took advantage of a server flaw by hacking into the client and able to identify exactly when. Sometimes he played with it, sometimes he played without it. Sometimes he intentionally won, and sometimes he intentionally lost. Very erratic play. But we've been able to identify
A super genius.
when the tool was up and their net wins. And Absolutely.
And what you could also say is that the tool was originally set for a 15-minute delay.
And he hacked
He hacked it to a real time. You can't.
God, he can hack anything. Holy
So
fuck.
this is the guy they hired at FTX as their chief regulatory officer, a guy who once conspired to hide his cheating boss. And of course, there are more red flags about the relationship between FTX and Alameda. You might assume that, like, okay, if it was negligence, maybe everyone inside the organization was just sharing information with everyone. There was no walls in place, right? And that's what created the conflicts of interest. But that doesn't match with what we've heard. I personally have spoken to FTX insiders who said they were blindsided by the collapse. They didn't know anything. The Wall Street Journal also...
Well, yeah, there's no shot that normal people at FTX had any idea what was actually going on with all this shady shit. There's 0% chance, like, everyone at FTX is guilty or everyone was insider trading or anything like that. That's not surprising at all. It's just the people at the very top. I'm also really curious how they have this audio with Dan Friedman here, because that seems like a conversation that was had just between whoever this... I already forgot this guy's name. Russ? I don't know. The old guy here and Dan. I don't know how that would even leak. That was just like a single phone call between the two of them. I feel like that's like the easiest thing to not release to the public somehow. Dan must have released it himself. There's the Prime Maya Galamidis and the resub Mahali. Room was bugged. I guess that's possible. Yeah, maybe. They were streaming the call. Yeah, they were doing it on Ultimate Bet. The morons did a lot of comms on Discord. You talking about FTX? Because this guy's way too old for Discord.
kind of loan they took out.
It is so cute how they write about it. I've already talked about it like 3 times this stream alone. I love the articles that are being published about SBF and this whole thing. I don't know why it's so delusional, but they are somehow just sucking his whole dick about it. Like, no, it's anything but fraud. Literally anything but fraud. You're just not getting enough sleep. Not enough sleep. But now he's getting enough sleep. If only he paid a little more attention. He was just too young, wasn't paying enough attention. They just died from out and underneath him. People lost confidence.
Because everything this guy...
This kind of shit has to feel so good. To be that person that called it out and then later are vindicated, that has to be such an amazing feeling. Like, that's that shit people live for with goofy conspiracies. Like, that one high, that euphoric high. But this guy isn't just like a conspiracy theorist. He was like an actual smart guy who saw all the signs, all the writing on the wall, called it out, and then was proven right later on. That has just got to feel amazing. I mean, his interviews also never helped him. He openly admitted it was a fucking Ponzi scheme. He literally describes it as a Ponzi scheme and celebrated the fact. So it's not like the interviews were ever really, like, deceptive. People, for some reason, just wrote it off in order to continue to believe the delusion that they were being sold, this fantasy they were being sold. And Larry David. They didn't want to end up like Larry David, of course, as the FTX commercial made very clear. Wait, what?
Who the guy's auditor is and say, who's your auditor?
Oh, they're talking about, so the person, or the entity that audited them in order to ensure they were legitimate was a goddamn meta auditor. It was a fucking company founded in the metaverse. The first of its kind. Just another fat L for the metaverse. It's so good. I love that the metaverse gets roped into everything because it's such a shit show. It's even cuter because the metaverse that they're in is Decentraland. And Decentraland, as you may recall, is that billion-dollar flop. It's the Decentraland, the one that recently came out in the report. They have 38 active players, I think it was. 38 active players in their fucking shithole. And one of them was an entire auditor. So beautiful. Just like an amazing train wreck of everything wrong with like the Web3 space. All wrapped into one explosion of dog shit. That's a shame. Bloomberg has done some really great work. That is actually kind of surprising. I would have expected that from anything else like Wall Street Journal. Washington Post. Like, I wouldn't have expected that from Bloomberg. I'm pretty surprised about that. Should that claim be proven true, that is actually kind of upsetting. What a shame. But yeah, I don't know why it was ever called into question whether or not this whole SBF FTX thing was the result of fraud. I think that should have been clear to pretty much everyone that's not just reading the Wall Street Journal. A complete top to bottom scammerooski. Bloomberg overall, I think, does more good work than bad work. Bloomberg was recently the publication that broke the story on Helena Taylor's misinformation. The whole Bayonetta 3 situation. Bloomberg's actually broke a lot of pretty important stories. Like bigger stories. So, hearing that they're pretty corrupt, well, at least their crypto team is corrupt, is a little surprising. Is there any crypto that's not a scam? I don't know, man. I feel like it's just a matter of time. Like, every crypto is a scam. Eventually, it's revealed. Like, I don't even think Bitcoin's safe. Doge used to be pretty legit. What the fuck? See, this is that shit I'm talking about. Doge was literally started as a meme. It is a celebrated meme that got big because Elon's such a shit poster. There's nothing legit about Doge. It is very openly a nothing burger that made people money from following Elon's shitpost. It's not like a real thing. It was literally started on Reddit, too. As just a meme. 99% of people in here don't know what blockchain is. 99% of the crypto space doesn't know what the blockchain is. It's just a buzzword in order to get some quick cash and rug. At least people have mostly stopped talking about NFTs. Yeah, NFTs seem super dead. Justin Bieber's $1.3 million Bored Ape that he bought last year, or I don't even think it was a full year ago, is now worth like $70K and dropping. While all of them are just hitting the shitter. It's about fucking time. That is so great to see.